Today, I'm standing here as a lobbyist, specializing in lobbying for a better future. I lobby for good. I stand here as a voice of sustainable economy. In March 2019, I made this poster, Entrepreneurs for Future. And when it later appears on our website, several journalists asked me whether it was photoshopped, whether a new slogan was simply mounted into a Fridays for Future poster. Why did they come up with this question? Because the economy and climate protection are not compatible? Because business and climate strike do not go together? My poster obviously caused irritation. Shortly before, I co-founded the business initiative Entrepreneurs for Future. The idea was to show the world that there's an and between business and climate protection, not an or. To show the world that more and more companies see the greatest economic opportunities precisely in climate protection. For me, it is about making the voice of sustainable economy louder, making sure the sustainable economy is heard, because it has the concepts of the future. To create a truly sustainable economy, we need the solutions of sustainable pioneers created with inner drive, the great ideas of green startups and social entrepreneurs, critical consumers who are empowered to detect greenwashing, and the right political framework. From the World Economic Forum to the world's largest investors, everyone agrees there's no way around sustainable economy and climate protection. The Global Risks Report of the World Economic Forum had confirmed CEOs worldwide see the greatest risks in the climate crisis and in the world's resources being finite. Also, employees and customers are asking about the purpose of every company. Sustainability has become a central issue for enterprises. And sustainability is much more than a trend. It has come to stay. And sustainability is no utopia. Sustainability pays off. An example is one of our members, a family-run, medium-sized company offering environmentally friendly cleaning products. They have actually become the market leader in the overall market of these products. In other areas, we are seeing consumer patterns changing. The market for organic food is skyrocketing. In 2020, the market increased of 22% in turnover and amounts to 15 billion euros. Sustainable companies see the three pillars, environmental, social, and economic, as equal, the so-called triple bottom line. For them, it is much more than just maximizing profits. A company is only true sustainable if it anchors sustainability in its core, in the core process of production or in the core service, and not only just as a pretty CSR measure. The sustainability movement is based on changing social values. We see Fridays for Future with a strong environmental awareness. And across the population, there's an increased health awareness, which can be seen in the boom of plant-based products. But we also see an increasing willingness to take responsibility of the consumers. For more than 3 decades, thousands of pioneering companies have created a future-oriented economy, a true sustainable economy. Their success is reflected in today's booming markets for organic food, for natural cosmetics, or plant-based products. Sustainability also means relief. More and more companies are benefiting from the positive impact. More and more want to join in. Large brand-oriented businesses have also recognized this. You read again and again that sustainability is an excellent relief against brand burnout. Brand burnout describes the phenomenon that certain brands, even very big ones, lose customers and market shares very quickly if they do not permanently spend money on advertising on a large scale. Sustainability brands are affected significantly less by brand burnout. We can see how it works, for example, in the case of a German company that produces outdoor clothing. This company creates not only a strong brand vitality through the credible and comprehensive integration of sustainability, but is economically successful too. Startups and social entrepreneurs are driving the change. There's, for example, this German startup. Their mission is to radically reduce single-use coffee-to-go cups. And they do so by providing a return system of reusable cups. With their ideas, startups changing the conversation. The spirit is also feeding through to bigger, more traditional companies who are catering for the needs of their customers. Climate protection is a world market of the future. And so it is time for the last companies and business associations to focus on the opportunities that lie in sustainable economy. It is time for them to leave the historic mindsets regarding climate protection versus business behind. I am convinced that we need a strong political framework to support this. Just a few years ago, conservative economic institutes and business associations warned, we must not endanger Germany as a business location by too much climate protection. Climate protection was depicted as a burden, as a threat to economy. But it is exactly the other way around. Not contributing to climate protection is the biggest threat to Germany as a business location. Companies can no longer afford to wait, because climate neutrality is the biggest economic program since the invention of the computer. As with information technology, huge markets are opening up here, and business need to take advantage of this opportunity. It is true. Climate protection demands a profound change from companies. Climate neutrality means that in 20 to 30 years, all economic sectors worldwide will no longer be allowed to emit greenhouse gases. In other words, they will no longer be able to use fossil fuels like oil, gas, or coal. Neither directly for the generation of electricity, nor indirectly using coal and steel production or burning of lime in the cement industry. This is a paradigm shift. Until now, companies could be satisfied with saving a few percentage of waste, a few percentage of plastics, or even CO2 here and there every year. Today, businesses must think in terms of results. They have to inform the customers about their path to zero emissions. Industrial customers expect climate neutrality from their suppliers. And that means switching the entire energy supply to renewable energies and fundamentally changing all industrial processes that release CO2. Companies that can deliver solutions today will shape the markets of the future. This aspect is already evident in many markets. Let me show you some of them. One example is nutrition. Every single year, Germans spend nearly 200 billion euros on food, and this number is rising. Also on the rise, the proportion of consumers critical of meat being part of a healthy diet. The number of vegans and vegetarians is increasing. Clever entrepreneurs are taking advantage of the market. For example, a traditional sausage factory. They stated that sausage is the cigarette of the future. That is why they added vegan salami or vegan schnitzel to its range. Recently, they proudly said that they achieved record-breaking growth of up to 100% in meat alternatives. Another example is mobility. The global turnover of the car industry is around 800 billion euros per year. In the future, only climate-neutral vehicles will be available in the market, mostly battery-powered. The German car industry has been massively criticized for decades of undermining regulations in Brussels. Regulations that would have led to lower CO2 emissions at an early stage. But even if an American electric pioneer is shaping the image of the cars of the future, the development in the departments in Germany is that all the talented engineers are now switching to the promising fields of electric cars. And now more than half of all patents of autonomous driving worldwide come from Germany. The last example I want to explore together with you is the energy sector. Every year, companies and states around the world invest 500 trillion euros in power plants, grid infrastructure and storage facilities. These markets have shifted from coal and gas power plants to combined power plants with wind, photovoltaics and batteries. In countries like the US, electricity from such as renewable combined cycle plants is cheaper than electricity from fossil fuels. And investments in renewable energies outstripped investments in gas-fired power plants. A few years ago, the international engineering groups changed their solutions for power plants, and they see the markets, especially in wind and solar power, as well as storage facilities and intelligent grid operation. Let me assure you, companies want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. For some traditional industry associations, sustainability is something to work on alongside their core business. For the German Federation of Sustainable Economy that I'm leading, sustainability is a core business. And climate protection is not a burden, but a benefit. Because companies want to be part of the solution, not of the problem, and many are much further ahead than politics. Climate protection and sustainability will be beneficial for companies because unsustainable activities will no longer be profitable. We see the world of finance. Unsustainable companies will no longer find investors. Step by step, unsustainable companies will lose their license to operate. So what must happen now? It would be unfair to pass the buck of transformation only to consumers and make it their job to take the right decisions. It would be unfair to pass the buck of transformation solely to the companies. It is a political task to ensure fair markets for climate protection and true cost accounting with the appropriate framework. Government needs to do more to support the sustainability in businesses. And there are so many good examples of business supporting climate innovation through technology. Governments should learn and engage green business and startups to help guide the direction of policy. Policy must put renewable energies in a better position than fossil fuels. For example, by setting a higher CO2 price. And of course, policy must support the technical solutions of the future. This will help companies to conquer climate neutrality as a world market of the future. By the way, two people who are particularly important to me accompanied me on the climate strike in March 2019. My sons. They are extremely worried about the rapidly progressing climate crisis. They ask me, "Mama, there's so little time left. Can we make it?" And I answer, "Yes, we can make it." Where do I get this hope? the sustainable pioneers give me hope. They are working on the sustainable solutions we need for the transformation. These companies are moving forward because of their inner drive and their willingness to take responsibility. They are moving forward not because of the political framework, but actually in spite of it. I'm firmly convinced that we'll make it if the political conditions are set in that way that the entire economy changes course. Now it is your turn. It's your turn to make sustainable consumer choices, to transform your companies, and even more, to hold policymakers accountable. Be reassured, the leading sustainable pioneers with their vast experience are here to support you. Thank you so much.